All right, welcome back to the Artist Connection podcast. This is Matt Kasar here with today's very special guest, Yasmine Van Wilt. Welcome.
Hi, how are you, Matt?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a real pleasure to meet you.
It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, here's where I want to start. Obviously, I want to get to your music, which I love, but I want to know how an artist finds an audience in this wild and woolly world of the internet. Because how I found you, and I say found you, but just going through, I don't know if it was Facebook or Twitter, just casually, like I used to do in the like I still do in the record stores when I look at old records. But when I want to find a new artist, I have to just kind of scroll down through the Facebook feed. Sometimes there's other people in my friend group that like an artist I haven't heard of, or sometimes there's sponsored posts. How do you find an audience in this big world of the internet?
That's an extraordinarily good question. I think we, each as artists, need to do a lot of trial and error. It's a very empirical process, I think, in the sense that when you create a product, I like to look at the production and dissemination of art from kind of a startup technology attitude. So I think of the artistic work as a product, and I imagine that the audience are the consumers who need to have that product reach a certain standard. So just as you would expect any software that you would download to be of a certain working standard, I approach the aesthetic the same way. So I think that if you understand what it is that you're doing and who you are, really as an artist and also within the cosmos,
right.
You have to be very specific about the way that you communicate that, because there is an incredible mass of content online, and we are continually inundated with new material by new artists. And I think it's a combination, of being on terrestrial radio, and I'm very fortunate that a lot of the radio stations that play me will also tweet about it.
Oh, nice.
Or Facebook about it. And so, they'll have a devoted listenership, and that listenership will sometimes find me from their social media feed, or they'll hear me on the radio and then they'll find me on social media as a result of that, or maybe, word of mouth. I think that when it comes down to it, certain niches within artistic communities are actually quite tight-knit. And often it'll be actually another artist who will recommend you. I'm continually recommending people because I really believe in this kind of artistic karma, that it's our duty to help raise the profile of others and to elevate a community to really be, I believe in art, and I try to do everything I can to help other people within that artistic community to get their word out.
Well, that's absolutely...
I feel very fortunate that they do it too.
and the same goes for me. I mean, that's absolutely what drives what I do here. And when you think of the podcasting world in general, not to mention regular radio stations, but I think iTunes has something like 200,000 or so podcasts in their directory. So how do you rise to the top? How do you get attention? But I just do the exact same thing that you described. I look for music either in my own extensive collection, or when I go to the record store and find old records and see if those people are still around, or finding someone like you who I didn't know anything about a week ago, and now I have the luxury with this show of being able to reach out to you, talk to you, learn more about what makes you tick, and then kind of spread the word from here. So it really is it's a beautiful process to be a part of.
Oh, thank you so much. And I think artists owe an extraordinary debt to people like you who are really devoted to craft and devoted to discussing the work, because otherwise we're just sitting in a vacuum twiddling our thumbs wondering
is anyone listening?
Ever going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly. Is anybody out there? So thank you so much for what you do for helping artists get their message out.
Well, let's dig into you a little bit more. So you're based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Is that where you were born and raised?
I'm a little bit of a vagabond right now.
Oh.
I've been actually in London for the last 8 years up until April.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm from Montreal originally. I grew up between Montreal and Florida, and I got nominated for the Southern Musician of the Year showcase. It was sponsored by Reverb Nation in Belk, and I have a lot of friends in Nashville, and that basically took me to Nashville to perform at the 12th and Porter, which is a really, really beautiful venue.
Oh, nice.
And when I was there, I started laying some roots and was introduced through an amazing guitarist, Kurt Ozan. You should definitely check him out. He's playing with Janet Kramer right now. And we connected, and he recommended me to a brilliant team. So now I'm recording with him and with Jack White's backing band, Daru Jones, who's got to be the best drummer in the world, and Dominic John Davis, who is similarly really the unique ilk as a bass player and a band leader, and working with the 1092 Studios in Nashville. So it's unraveled that way, in the sense that I'm not necessarily based all the time in Nashville.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
My artistic team is there, and with theatrical, I have a theatrical product that's taking me to New York soon. So, and I'm also recording in New York soon. So I'm a bit fluid in the sense that I do things in lots of places.
Well, that's great that you have the flexibility and the freedom to create, and I'm sure the different environments all bring a different vibe to whatever it is you're doing.
I think naturally different kinds of aesthetics are easier to pursue in different places. I don't think that I probably would have gone in the direction that I did with transmedia if I hadn't been based in London. But that being said, it was definitely time to come back to North America. I could feel that the direction for everything I was doing was going politically, especially because I'm extremely influenced by politics.
Right.
By social events, I should say, really more so than politics. I don't really care about politics at all, actually. I care about people and the state of things. And that was really, I was really feeling a strong pull to be back here, to be actively contributing to this culture.
Now, how is it when you look back from here, from across the pond, as they say, when you're over in a foreign country and you're watching the events play out? I mean, 8 years is a pretty good chunk of time, and a lot has changed here in 8 years. How does it look when you follow the media events over there? Like, how does the BBC, and I watch BBC News here as well, and I listen to it on my phone, but how is it when you're actually there and you're kind of looking back at us from over there, and how does the media interpret us over there?
That's a fascinating question. So I did a PhD, and that was one of the reasons I did all my studying over in Europe. And it was creative practice, but it also had kind of critical focus. So it allowed me to really look at identity within the transnational context. So, because I don't identify as either American or Canadian. I feel North American because I am both. And being a North American in Europe, you were really aware of the huge disparity between certain social availability that exists there and what exists here. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the fact that it's so difficult for so many people to have health care here really upsets me.
Yeah.
That really bothers me. And the Europeans look at the fact that we have not done that yet as archaic and arcane, and they're absolutely right, in my opinion. That anybody should, go without medical treatment, to me, is barbaric, and I find it incredibly upsetting. It was actually one of the things I was really looking at in my more recent tracks that I cut at 1092. That and the fact that gay marriage has only just been passed. I'm so happy that that's finally happened.
Right. Yeah.
From a social perspective, I think that Europe probably sees us in a fairly disparaging light in some ways, because it seems as though we have less of a grip on capitalism, as in capitalism has a grip on us, and it's stronger than it is there. There's, for example, in Northern Europe, I've spent quite a bit of time and performed numerous times. They have an extremely different attitude towards the relationship between the individual and society